Hey Moose lovers and Moose ladies, welcome back to the only V50 channel on YouTube. I know it's been a little while since I made a video. Thanks for sticking around. Today I'm going to cover pretty much everything that I've done with the car over the past couple of years since I last recorded. I have been working on the car, just haven't been putting a whole lot of stuff up on YouTube. Been doing some stuff on Instagram, changed my name over there to Little Red Wagoon since the last time I made a video. So go check that out if you want to keep up on, what I'm trying to do sort of day in, day out. This isn't like a huge YouTube build. I'm not tearing it apart, not doing a rebuild, not doing anything too crazy, not racing the thing. My main goal with this whole build is just to make it the best V50 that I possibly can. So, getting it as clean as possible, making it a little OEM plus, not any, 1,000 horsepower, typical YouTube build kind of stuff. Unfortunately, just kind of a boring old dad wagon. That's what you're getting here. So anyway, today I'm going to run through a few different stages of what I've done. The first one, getting things back to stock, then getting things a little bit better than stock, and then what I've done to make it that OEM plus level. So I'll run through it all. I'll try to hit some stuff. I'm maybe repeating some of the stuff that I've said in previous videos. I don't know. Like I said, it's been a little while, so thanks for coming back. When I bought this car, it had 160,000 miles on it. It was really well maintained by the first owner. I've got like factory or dealership labeled records for like the first 120, 140,000 miles on this thing. Then it completely loses any sort of record keeping for about 20,000 miles. And then I got it. So when I got it, it was basically stock. There weren't any modifications to anything as far as I could tell, but there was still some stuff to get it back to, dealership, showroom floor quality. So after 160,000 miles, the steering wheel and the shift knob were basically completely rubbed over and smooth. So I replaced both of those with OEM bits. The shift boot as well, replaced that. Replaced the cup holders and their little flappy rubber bits. Oh, and of course I've bought, a couple of these extra parking brake bits, which anyone who owns a P1 Volvo knows fall off all the time. This badge was cracked and this badge was faded, so replaced both of these. I replaced the rear wiper arm, which was broken right here. Also replaced all of the lug nuts, which had lost their caps, and replaced a center cap or two, which had been cracked or broken. I think that's pretty much it for bringing it back up to stock. So let's dive into some of the improvements that I've made. Next round I'm calling better than stock. Things that I feel like could have come on the vehicle from factory, from Volvo, the way things should have been. So starting right here, you can see Pegasus wheels off of the S60R. These are 18 by 8s. Absolutely love these things. They look so much better than the 17s that came on the car, and the design of them is absolutely timeless. Also here, you might not, I don't know if you can see, I upgraded to slotted rotors and better pads all the way around. The V50R came with the 320 millimeter front rotors, so I didn't have to upgrade those. In the rear, I upgraded to the 302 millimeter rotors that came on like the Ford Focus RS or the Mazda, something like that. Upgraded brackets, used the same caliper. Had to upgrade the rotors, so same pads, same brake lines, although the brake lines feel really tight when I put the caliper back on. So I'm considering upgrading to stainless steel lines back here. If anyone has done that, or if they find that easier, to do, let me know. I'd love to hear about that. I'm not worried about the stainless steel brake lines themselves, just having an extra centimeter or two would make getting these calipers on and off a lot easier. As you can see, the bracket's really rusted, so I'm going to need to take the caliper off, clean off all that rust, refinish it, make it all, clean it all up, and I'd love to do that, and put a new brake line on there all at the same time. Also put Michelin Pilot Sport 4s all the way around. New wheels, needed new rubber. Figured I'd get a nice all-season tire. Again, this thing's not a race build, just trying to do something, nice and easy. Back inside the car, you might be able to see the new boost gauge here, as well as adding a short shifter, which is harder to see. Also hard to see here unless you know what you're looking for. I relocated the horns to the outside of the sort of grill shroud. Got this idea from the My Name Ideas, All My Name Ideas Were Taken channel, who, by the way, is actually the only other V50 channel that I can think of. Although he's pretty much done with his V50 project. Added the roof bars up here. This really isn't showing up in camera, but this is the aspherical dead spot glass. I love this stuff. One of the earliest mods, quote unquote, that I did on this thing. Obviously, probably make them for any car. Super easy to pop off and put on. Makes highway driving so much easier, especially if you got an older car that doesn't have, blind spot monitoring stuff. I tried to crawl up under the car to show you, but without jacking the car up, it's going to be kind of tough. So I upgraded the rear anti-sway bar to the really thick one from Elevate. I also added the HD front sway bar end links from IPD up front. Speaking of IPD, added in, one of their aftermarket air filters. Other than that, a lot of corrective paint work. This thing was covered in water spots when I got it, so really cleaned up and refreshed the paint everywhere, which I guess counts as a back to stock thing. But for some reason, it's at this part of my list instead of the other section. So with that, I think we're going to start getting into the next section, which I'm calling the Instagram spin. Up front here, I've got LED headlights, marker lights, side lights, basically LED lighting all around, including on the inside, and the Elevate charge pipe up here, which I say doesn't really make it much difference in performance, but it does feel like it helps the turbo spool faster and smoother. There's also these tiny valve cover bolts that I picked up from IPD. I would love to get a full dress-up bolt kit from Dress Up Bolts, but I don't think they make them for Volvo. And then, of course, the most important feature of any wagon that wants to be Instagram famous, the color-matched roof box. Eno wedge, debadged, absolutely love the thing. It doesn't stay on the roof every day, but man, it looks good. The last part of my build, which is probably the first part of most people's build, is the more power baby part of the build. The only part that I've done so far is the upgraded intercooler in here from Doe 88. I've got some stuff coming I'll talk about in just a second, but before I get to all of that, I want to talk about how much I've spent on everything here. Not to go into every, nickel and dime, just going to cover some rough numbers. The first section, getting everything basically back to stock, was roughly around $2,000. Again, I bought a lot of OEM Volvo parts, which obviously comes with that dealership premium. The next section, getting things improved, was a little over $4,000. A lot of that went to the wheels and tires, the Pegasus wheels, which again, OEM, and the new tires were a real big chunk of that. As far as the Instagram spin goes, that was closer to around $3,000, $3,500, and as you can probably guess, the majority of that was because of the roof box and the paint match. For everything going into the more power section, it's coming out to around $4,200. Again, this is going to be intercooler, downpipe, exhaust, tune, all of which I'll talk about in just a second. All told, considering I paid around $9,000 for this thing before the used car market got completely insane, and adding everything up, I think I'm roughly around $20,000 that I've spent in this thing. So if anybody wants to make an offer on this car, that is the starting price. And it's probably going to cost you more than that to get it out of my hands. One final thing that I know most of you are probably thinking about or asking about is why there's so much space here still. Again, this is a family car. It's a dad wagon. Streets around Chicago suck. So the last thing that I need is a slammed or lowered car. Maybe one day in the far, far future, I'll think about getting air ride for this thing, something that can keep it low and comfortable, but that's kind of the holy grail of suspension, and I don't expect to find that or afford that anytime soon. So for now, I'm keeping comfort and reliability as the most important part of this build. So here's what's coming next. full stainless steel 3-inch exhaust and downpipe, again from Elevate. I've also got their wastegate actuator sitting over there on the bench, and once I get all that put in, I'll be tuning it with the Hilton Stage 2 Plus with the wastegate actuator upgrade. Follow along. I'm more likely to post about this sort of stuff on Instagram than here. Hopefully it won't be 2 years before it gets on the car and you see another video. Maybe it will be. And after this gets on, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of other V50 content or other cars or anything coming from here. So maybe this is goodbye forever. Maybe you'll see another video. Hope to see you soon. Thanks for checking it out. I really appreciate it.